Hey traders, welcome back to another daily profit and loss recap video. Today is Tuesday, July 18th. I just finished up trading for the morning and I locked in $721 in profits with 2 winning trades. In this video, we're going to break down these trades, talk about my thought process behind them, so that hopefully you can take something from my trading and apply it to your own. So for the first time in a while today, I didn't take any trades based on the stocks that were gapping up in pre-market. A few of them that were gapping up this morning were MICS. If we take a look at the daily chart for MICS, we can see that pretty much every single time this stock has a spike up or it has a gap up, it tends to be very weak and it tends to not hold on to those gains very well. It tends to come straight back down. So because of that, this was on watch for a potential short opportunity, and it would have been a very great short opportunity from this false breakout that happened above the pre-market high. That was a bearish signal, so taking a short position following that, using this 250 area to risk off of, would have been a really nice short opportunity to profit from this actually starting to sell off to the downside. But I actually did not take that trade, and I didn't trade MICS at all. Another one was HYPR. Pretty much the same thing that happened with MICS also happened with HYPR. We get this quick false breakout above the pre-market highs that kind of just chops around for a bit. And then we get this nice breakout above that morning high and above that opening range breakout level, pushes quickly up to 319, ends up being a false breakout that comes straight back down, and has been kind of just climbing up slowly ever since. So for me, there really hasn't been any solid trade opportunities from these gappers this morning. Maybe if anything, I could have gotten into it reclaiming the VWAP at about 10:45 this morning, and then, had a nice scalp as it pushed back up over 3 for a bit. But for me today, my focus was definitely on the stocks that were in the Market Master Group trade plans over the night. And the first of those was with the stock KSCP. So taking a look at the trade plans to kind of give you the specifics on what I was looking for with this trade. The trade plans were that this was spot on for a short opportunity the previous day. And we were just looking for a short on that because it was at that point severely overbought. It had really strong momentum over the past couple of weeks, and it was simply due for a pullback. Okay, but from there, today on Tuesday, what I was looking for was actually a long trade. Now that the RSI has kind of cooled off since the stock pulled back, it is still overall in an uptrend, so I was seeing that pullback now as an opportunity to potentially buy the dip to capture a rebound in the stock. So this morning, once it started to kind of reclaim the 150 level from its morning pullback, that is where I started to take a starter position in the stock. I alerted to the team that I was taking this position. And if we take a look at the chart, this was kind of a tricky trade. It traded sideways for a bit, pulled back, came within a few cents of my stop loss area. My risk was kind of down near this morning low. I was going to probably start cutting losses on this if it started to break down under the 135 level. And as we can see again, it came within a few cents of that level before it started to bounce back up. And eventually, we finally got the move that we were looking for. It's now recently gone red to green for the day. I locked in a portion of my profits once it started to push back up into these morning highs, and then I locked in the rest of my profits here in the mid 160s as it was testing the red to green level. On that trade, I had a total of 4,380 shares. Typically, I like to add by 200 shares or 500 shares depending on the stock that I'm trading. So at some point, I ended up not getting an entire position filled, and I ended up with kind of a weird number of shares, but on that trade, I ended up with $618 in profits. So although it did definitely test my patience and it kind of went against me for a bit, this was my biggest winning trade today, and it was a really solid trade setup from the Market Master Group's trade plans, and also a good reminder to kind of stick to your plans with the trade. This is the type of setup and the type of stock that would have been very easy to sell too early and end up taking a loss on the trade, since it really didn't look like anything was going to happen for kind of the first hour or so of the market open. But as long as you're in a proper position size and you have a risk level in mind, it's almost always best to stick to that risk level and let the trade kind of either work in your favor or let it pull back all the way down to your stop loss. That is really the only way to kind of help prevent yourself from selling out of these setups too early and taking an unnecessary loss. Alright, so with all of that being said, the other trade for me today was with the stock NKLA. I had a few scalps on this morning. It was kind of a tricky stock to trade with a lot of quick false breakouts, but it was overall a really solid continuation from the move that we saw the previous day and the momentum that we've seen forming over the past couple of weeks. So again, like KSCP, NKLA was also part of the Market Master Group trade plans over the past night. And the trade plans for this were that this is a tricky stock to trade, as these high volume movers tend to have a lot of fake outs, which of course ended up being very true this morning as well. Regardless, there was a nice double bottom that formed around the $2 level over the past few trading days, setting this up for a potential recovery to the recent highs on Tuesday. For me, the two ways to trade this would be to either wait for it to test the newfound $2 support area, or to scalp a quick breakout above Monday's 233 high of day. So all of that being said, we can see that very quickly out of the open here, it starts to push above that 233 high of day from the previous day. That's where I ended up taking my first scalp on this trade. It was a very quick trade, only about 1,000 shares on that trade, I believe, and I ended up getting into my second trade once it pulled back and started to bounce pretty nicely off of the VWAP. This is kind of textbook exactly what I like to see when I'm looking for a bounce from the VWAP. We see that it pulls back into the VWAP. We get a couple candlesticks here with some really nice long lower wicks on them. That tells us that even though the stock at some point within that candle fell down to these lows, the buyers took control and pushed it right back up. That shows you that dip buyers are there and that there is overall still demand for the stock. And that is, of course, generally a great sign when you're looking to buy a dip. So I got into the VWAP there, locked in some profits as it started to push back up towards the previous highs. I did once again the same thing here. Once it started to bounce off the VWAP, we get a little bit of a higher low that forms here at 10:09 this morning. And on this trade, I ended up kind of embarrassingly taking a small loss. As I mentioned, I bought into this dip, but once it started to push back up here with high volume, breaking out through this area of resistance, I added into my position, wasn't quick enough to lock in profits, and it ended up turning against me and I was forced to cut losses as it once again pulled back down to the VWAP. That was a very small loss, and overall I ended up with a very small amount of profits on this trade and with this stock, a total of $102 in profits, which did bring my profits overall for the day up to $721. So overall it was kind of an anticlimactic day, not really any solid trade setups from the morning movers once the market opened, and these are the days where it's really important to be disciplined, keep your trading somewhat minimal, and only trade the setups that are going to give you the best chances of being profitable for the day. Alright, but anyway, those were my main focuses in my trades for the day. I ended up with $721 in profits. Hopefully you found some value in this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to hear about the stocks that I'm trading in real time, as well as work with our team of traders, get access to our day trade and swing trade alerts, our detailed trade plans, our live custom scanner streams, and so on and so forth, all of that can be found in the Market Master group. There's going to be a link down below in the description for you to get signed up. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and good luck with your trading.